All right, welcome to Talking Shop. We are back at it. It's just Mike and I today. Matt is goofing off somewhere.
So hopefully he's listening.
Yeah, that's right.
There are listeners. I ran into a couple at the National Youth Gathering. Give a shout out here to Mark in Illinois. Go, bro. And Jesse in New York. Keep listening.
So today we have Luke chapter 12, 49 through 56. And I would say this at the get-go, if you're reading this text on Sunday morning, you kind of got to preach it. And I'm sorry about that because it's a tough one. It's going to take you places as a preacher you may not want to go. Or maybe you could say this, if you really want to preach this, maybe you're going to do it wrong. Like, you should be hesitant to do it.
There you go.
Right? It's kind of like, so it's about consuming fire and bloody baptisms and what it means to be a disciple and division and no peace and all those kind of things. But it is about preaching the whole counsel of God. So join us in that conversation. Hopefully it'll be beneficial. Take some time to like and subscribe, and let's get after it.
Spit out my Lord in every way, yet I'm still welcome in the arms.
Okay, Luke 12, 49 through 56.
I have punched
Jesus comes out of the gate strong.
called God a liar, and
It's
took his trial.
preaching this text is a fun one to preach.
Yeah.
I came not to cast fire on the earth.
Or
and-
to cast fire.
Yeah. Or I came to cast fire. Good catch, yeah. To cast fire on the earth, and would that it were already kindled.
Boom.
And we kind of can't quite separate these out. I have a baptism to be baptized with, and how great is my distress until it is completed. So you get this this sense right out of the gate, something massive is coming.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound good for your kind of average, observer of the events, and he is eager for it to happen. Right?
I want to go back up. We skipped this section leading up to our passage, but in verse 41, I want to ask the question the disciples asked Peter. Lord, are you telling this parable for us or for all? We're hoping it's the latter.
Yeah.
Not for us.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
man, there's some heavy words out the gate. In the Greek, the first word is fire.
Fire. Yeah, right. So I came to cast fire on the earth, and would that it were already kindled. So what's he talking about? What is the fire that he has come to cast upon the earth?
Well, when you look at fire, you're thinking judgment.
Yes.
Judgment of God.
Yeah.
You're thinking of purification,
Yes.
and certainly the presence of God.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the presence comes with judgment.
Yeah, and purification. So you get those two things, right? So you get the refining fire.
Yeah.
That's how we kind of make it sound a little nicer,
Yeah.
right? Doesn't mean it's less painful.
Right.
It's just it has a purpose.
Yes.
And so the fire comes. It can either refine and sort of make pure in that regard, or it can just outright obliterate and destroy.
Our God is a consuming fire.
Yeah, consuming fire.
Yeah.
So there's a sense in which you start this and you say, well, okay, he's not playing around.
No.
Like, the coming of God in human flesh is still the coming of God.
Yes.
And that is fire. That is the arrival of judgment, wrath,
Yeah.
and a cleansing, purifying,
Yes.
all these things
All
wrapped up
that.
into it, right?
Yeah.
And he couples that. That's why I ran those two together, because
Right.
49 and 50, he couples that with this baptism he's going to be baptized with.
Right.
So what's Jesus talking about there?
Well, that fire, that wrath of God is going to come down on him,
Yes.
on his shoulders.
Right.
So, yes, Lord, you are talking about us. You're taking the rap for us. You're taking the wrath for us. And the strange thing in verse 51, do you think I've come to give peace on earth? Yeah, I got that idea when the angels announced your birth.
It's right.
You know?
And you get, a plethora of Old Testament passages pointing to the Messianic age as one of peace, right? The coming
Prince
of peace, right?
Here he comes.
And he's like, you really think that, right?
Like if I ever needed to set you straight on the role of the Messiah before,
Right.
you
right.
should definitely get the clear picture of what I'm talking about now.
Yes. Yes. So the baptism that he's going to be baptized with, has been referred to as like his bloody baptism.
Yeah.
This is not him, John in the Jordan River, although it certainly connects to that because that's an atonement move. That's him stepping into the place of mankind. Their sins are my sins, kind of thing. But it's going to culminate in the wrath of God upon him. My God, why have you forsaken me?
And if you make that parallel with baptism and the fiery baptism he's about to experience, and kind of in a sense, humanly speaking, he dreads. It's like, wow, wish you're already done. The parallel in the other sacrament in the Lord's Supper, it's drinking the cup of wrath.
Yeah.
To the
Very
dregs.
good. Yeah.
Just fully drinking it down.
Yeah. So so he comes out of the gate firing, right? Fire is going to be cast on the earth. That's judgment, purification, all these things. It's going to disrupt everything.
Whew.
There's going to be a localized reality that in him, in his life, as he undergoes this baptism of pain and the wrath of God at Calvary, and then he moves to this great question, which you already hit on. Do you think that I've come to bring peace to the earth? No. Division.
Yeah.
That's what I bring. Division. Right?
Diametrically divided.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's I think preaching this text, I don't know. I think this gives something crucial to our hearers because they actually experience this.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And they kind of in their minds, they always want to say, well, it's just going to be peace. It's going to be peace, right? Peace is what we got.
Yeah.
But as believers, they say, no, I've actually experienced a lot of division.
Yeah. Right.
Right?
Right.
That it doesn't always play out well or play together
when we were
nicely.
doing our interpretation, you alluded to an experience someone had where they were ostracized from the family of a different faith.
Yeah.
And when she came to the Lord came to her. It created that exact kind of division we're talking about here.
Yes. Powerful.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, where father is against son. So kind of reminds me of, son against father. In the whole fascism development historically, children turned on their parents. If they found out that they took down the swastika in their living room or something, the children narked on the parents. And that was a very deep division right there in the institution of the family.
Yeah, and so the division are in these most intimate of relationships.
Yeah.
The ones that
to the core.
Like to our day, people will still speak about like kind of family before everything.
Yeah.
That kind of notion, right?
Right.
And what you see here, which is very real, that these divisions that come with faith in Christ will cut at those things as well. Totally. And it's a beautiful, I always like to bring up, when I'm teaching on these sorts of things, that great scene where Jesus is teaching in the house and they say, hey, your mother and brother and sisters are here.
I thought of that
And he
too.
goes, well, who are my mother and brother and sisters? And he doesn't, first of all, he doesn't go outside.
No.
He says, these are them. Like in that moment, he redefines the family.
Yes.
Family are those that are attentive to my words, right? That message carries a lot into our hearers today. I think.
Totally.
As we gather in church, and it's like you don't want to disparage family connections. Those are so powerful and real. Right. But this family, this unit of people gathered around this word, gathered as those who are maybe even you could say purified by that burning word of Christ and those kind of things. this is a new thing that is strong too,
Yeah,
that holds
right.
together.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And our people can totally relate to this too.
Yeah.
Sadly, it seems to happen in the Lutheran Church where when our children get to college age, they go off and sometimes they lose the faith.
Sure.
And so the pain of this experience is very real to our
Very real.
audience.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember it doesn't specifically say brother against sister, but I remember when I was involved in a Christian ministry and we had an international student outreach, and this girl from the Middle East said, I've received Christ. I'm his daughter.
Yeah.
But I can't let my family back in Iran know.
Sure.
They would dispatch my brother to come kill me. That's what she said. He'd come all the way across the other side of the world to kill me if he found out I was a Christian. Whoa.
Yeah, it's a different. Yeah, you can't just sweep that aside. Right?
No,
That's
no.
a very real thing. So, shocking text in this regard. Maybe. I mean, I think there's a lot of ways it could be preached, but I mean, it's that. It's highlighting again the real cost of discipleship,
there it
right?
is,
That
yeah.
the faith actually does demand something
Right.
of you. That a lot of times I speak of it this way. Maybe I speak of it too lightly, where I'll talk to my people about, to be a Christian is you now live a disjointed life from the
Yeah.
rest of this world.
Yeah.
Like you're united with other Christians, but you're in the world. You're part of the world. You benefit from things of the world. The world benefits from things you have. All that kind of stuff. But it's not the same. It's like at a sink.
Yeah, you're not of
Right.
it.
You're not of it. And
Yeah.
so there's gonna be this built-in tension
Yeah.
in life.
Yeah, totally. And Jesus is upfront and honest. This is his traveling discourse. So this is last chance running through. He's going to, he's just going to tell it like it is before his wrath is kindled.
Yeah. So then you get this second paragraph added to it about interpreting the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Again, I think it's all fairly straightforward, right?
Yeah.
When you see a cloud rising in the west, you say at once, "Hey, it's going to rain."
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
I was just backpacking a few weeks up in the Sierras with my wife, and we remembered because we had been up there years ago, but in the afternoon, all of a sudden you see the clouds start to form, and you just kind of knew that where they came from. You're like, well,
And then you smell it.
That's right. It's gonna rain.
Yeah.
The shower's coming. You get those thunderstorms in the afternoon. When I was in Georgia, we got those afternoon thunderstorms.
Sure.
But his point is you're interpreting normal phenomena.
Yeah. Right. And you're
you can
pretty good at it.
And you can predict, and you
Yeah.
kind of it's like common sense at some point.
Yeah.
You just kind of get it, right?
Right.
And then he levels them with this.
It's a left-handed compliment. Here comes the part two.
You hypocrites! You know how to interpret the appearance of earth and sky. Why do you not know how to interpret the present time?
Yeah, I mean, this, like we just said, it's his last run up to Jerusalem for his passion. And they've seen 2.5 years of signs. John the Baptist is in prison looking for a sign.
Sure.
And Jesus is going over it, and over it. How many times did he say his passion awaits him? He'll die at the hands of sinful men. And yet they don't see it. I mean, he spells it out, and they don't see it, you hypocrites. You're really good at this over here.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the Messiah, and I'm spelling it out for you,
right.
You still don't get it. You're slow.
Yeah. It was like my buddy Joel had once said in the midst of the pandemic, when things were really bad early on. Remember, it was like really bad. And he said, I have members coming up. He's a pastor, and he goes, I have members coming up saying, Pastor, it's like the end times. And he goes, I literally say that every single week. Like
It's just now dawning on you.
This is it. Yes. Yeah. I'm glad you're catching up, but yes, we're here. Right. These are the end times.
That's great.
But yeah, again, it's we get confident in those normal things of life, and we move away from being confident in the things of God.
Yeah.
Like he said this would happen.
Right.
He's giving you the signs. And it's interesting, a lot of like throughout Scripture, throughout the Old Testament for sure, part of interpreting the present day is always by looking back,
Yeah, good.
right? To
Certainly.
what did God do before,
Yeah.
and how can we therefore understand what's happening now, or at least be assured of His Word in
Yeah.
our present time.
Yeah.
And we do that as well, or we ought to do that
Yeah.
as well, right?
That's right.
To look
But
back. and
it's
see what
against
He's
our
done.
impulse, and so even the preacher's impulse would be to refrain from these types. I mean, you read this passage, I came to cast fire on earth, and wood it already had been kindled. How great is my distress. This is the gospel of the Lord.
Yeah.
That's not the gospel I like to preach,
No, that's right. That's right.
but it's the whole counsel.
Yeah.
And this is paired with the Jeremiah, where they speak peace, peace, when there is no
peace.
Yeah.
They're lying.
Yeah, and that is not loving.
Yeah.
To reduce it all the way to gospel only
Yes.
is not to
Very
give the
good.
whole counsel of God. It's law and gospel, and you lose the meaning of the gospel without the backdrop of the law anyway.
Yeah.
But Jesus is laying it on there. So we could say, yeah, his baptism, that's for all of us, to be baptized into Christ for the forgiveness of sins and get the vertical peace, But beware, it's going to create a horizontal division, not peace.
Yeah. That's great, man. That's probably a good call for anyone who's looking to preach this text. And I would say, if you're reading this text on a Sunday morning, you got to kind of preach it.
Yeah.
Like, this is one of those ones where you can't read that and then go, we're going to look at the epistle lesson today. Like, you're clearly dodging it at that point,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. I mean, you might go for the Old Testament because it does
Sure.
sync up.
It does sync up, yeah.
And I think, I don't know if the Hebrews is that section. Is it 12, 11 or 12, where he says, he quotes the Old Testament passage, our God is a consuming fire.
Yeah.
And he still is.
Yeah.
Judgment's still to come.
Right. All right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed that. it's a doozy of a text. Leave any thoughts below on how you might preach this or what you're thinking of. It's always beneficial. Subscribe, check out craftofpreaching.com, and God bless your preaching.